I love photography. I've always loved photography, but it's taken me 10 years to learn this fact about photography. When you love photography, I think the struggle is as simple as always wanting to document, but also realizing that you need to be present. I suppose the curse of loving this craft, this art, this thing that we call photography, is the desire, the urge, or the need to constantly be creating or capturing. But here's the fact. You don't. You don't always have to be photographing. You just don't. In this video, I'm going to discuss 3 reasons why I think this to be a fact about photography. But first, I got to tell you a quick story. So I just got back from a trip to the beach. It was a family trip, and I was really excited because we were going to the beach. I live in the mountains, so switching it up can always feel encouraging, right? You can feel inspired because you're in a different scene, you're in a different setting, and you feel as though the possibilities are far more endless than they ever were in your hometown. Or maybe I'm alone in that thought, but living in a small town, specifically, I feel like this happens pretty quickly. You feel as though you photographed all the buildings, you photographed all the nice spots, all of these things. So I was just really excited about the opportunity to take my skills, and my camera somewhere new. Honestly, I'd already planned shooting 2 YouTube videos and tons of short form content because at Hilton Head, which is where we went, there are tons of bikes. And so I just knew that there were going to be pockets of light all over, and I was going to have the opportunity for some really cool street photography. I had my drone, I had my tripod, I had my laptop, I had all my SSDs, I had my Lumix S5 II, my GoPro, my Fuji, my Canon EOS R. I had all this gear. My backpack was heavy, and I was really excited. But guess what? I didn't even get any of those things out of the bags that they were packed in. So basically, I failed to create any of the content that I had envisioned, mapped out, planned out in my head on this trip. The whole drive back over the mountain, I was thinking, wow, took all this gear, had all these plans, and I didn't follow through with any of it. The only thing I could think about was all the missed opportunity, but then it hit me. I don't always have to be shooting a photo or creating content, even though I feel a desire to 99% of the time. And I think there's 3 great reasons, 3 great times when perhaps you should exercise not taking the photo, which is a channel about photography, so this sounds contradicting, but hear me out. First situation is burnout. At some point in your creative journey, your flame is going to burn out. More specifically, you're going to experience burnout. The key is to minimize the time that you spend in this burnout phase. If you've had the advantage of making it through a burnout phase, you understand if you look back, there were signs and warnings that you were heading towards burnout. You have 2 choices at this point. Armed with that knowledge, you can either repeat that same mistake, or you can learn from it and hopefully mitigate and prevent any future burnout sessions. If you find yourself in this situation right now, this burnout situation, like I think a lot of creators are, take a step back. Hit the pause button. There's something to be said about pushing through, but in this case, I don't think that's helpful. I don't think you're going to create anything worthwhile, anything that you're going to be proud of, because it's all going to be forced. So just pause. The second situation that I don't think you need to be creating in is when your body is telling you no. You ever heard that song that says, my mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes? This is nothing like that. In fact, it's the exact opposite. I'm suggesting that my mind was telling me I needed to create, but my body was saying no. My body was saying, you need to rest. I know a lot of you guys drive with your gas light on. I'm not one of those people, but I know those people exist. It's that warning light that you're fixing to run out. My body was warning me, telling me, look, if you don't listen to me, give me rest, it's not going to be good in the future. You'll pay for it later. You are human. Your energy levels, your body, the limits that you can push it to, they do have boundaries. It is finite. At some point, you'll reach it, and your body's going to tell you, I suggest listening to it. Let's take this trip, for example. All the content that I had planned out in my head revolved around sunrise and sunset. Well, I didn't get out of bed. I slept in. And I did not take time away from my family in the evenings to go do the sunset work. So I just rested. I slept in, I did not feel like getting up, and for once I actually listened to my body and I got some very needed rest. So listen to your body now or you'll pay the price later, which sounds a lot more ominous than it really is. Basically, if you need to rest, you need to rest. There's no good that comes from pushing through that most of the time, in my experience. And the third situation is when you're with family. Whatever family is to you, whatever family you have, whatever family or friends that you spend time with, when you are with those people, sometimes you just need to be present. I don't know if any of you guys like The Office, but I was reminded in this whole trip, Andy said, man, I wish there was a way to know that you were in the good times while you were in them. Something along those lines. Probably butchered that, but my point is, basically he's suggesting that had he known he was in the good times while he was in them, he would have experienced them differently, better, more vividly. And that's how I feel about family. So that's the third point, family. When you're with family, when you're with friends, sometimes you just need to experience, live, be, exist, not trying to document the whole process. This also was the case for me on this trip. I was with my family, and my two younger kids have not spent a whole lot of time at the beach, so I was wanting to be there for those moments. Now, I did take photos. I used my iPhone and my Fujifilm X-T20, but I shot JPEG recipes, as opposed to a normal workflow where I would have shot RAW, I would have recorded a whole lot of video clips and then had to piece together and edit. I didn't do any of that. It was just JPEG recipes and my iPhone. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. The world kept spinning. It did. It kept spinning, still going today actually. The content that I had in mind, the content that I wanted to create would have taken away from this family time. And so basically I chose to leave the cameras in the bag, and I'm glad I did. Sure, I missed out on not creating, but I was present and I was able to recharge a bit as well. So to sum up this collection of ramblings, don't guess this is really a tip, but more so just a piece of advice. I want to encourage anybody who is in this burnout phase, in this fatigued phase of their creative journey, that it's okay to be there. But you need to take care of yourself. You need to rest. You need to listen to your body. Otherwise, if you don't take care of yourself and you don't recharge, then you're never going to have energy to create anything else in the future. So listen to your body. I want you to know that it's okay to not take the photo. It's okay to not create that piece of content. Sometimes you need to take a step back and recharge. Other times, you just need to be present. You need to experience the life that is happening before you. Now, obviously, the curse is if I don't document it, then I'm not going to remember it as well. Like, I feel that burden, I feel that need because I'm behind the camera for so many moments, and I'm thankful that I have those moments, but there's also something to be said experiencing life as it's happening with your eyes, as opposed to behind some camera through some lens. So, with the exception of when you're in one of these three situations, keep shooting. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Now that I think about it, I could have summed this whole video up in one sentence. You're human. Sometimes you're not going to feel like creating, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. It's also something to be said about missing opportunities. I feel like that's really what life's about, though. Finding that balance between seizing the opportunity, but also recognizing that there's probably going to be more in the future. This channel's supposed to be about photography. sometimes I feel like I get a little deeper than that. And I have a feeling that's not why you guys are here. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.